5 things you missed from the Canadian Grand Prix. After a huge crash on the opening lap, the Canadian Grand Prix failed to reach any more high dramas as Sebastian Vettel strolled to victory for Ferrari. The German though will be most delighted by the weekend's overall low-key events as his win sees him retake the lead in the World Championship from Lewis Hamilton. But what else was there to look out for in Montreal? Sportsmail looks at the 5 things you may have missed from the race. As far as F1 races go, this won't go down as the most memorable 70 laps in Grand Prix racing history. In fact, history won't even remember it being 70 laps. After model Winnie Harlow, not to her own fault, waved the checkered flag one flap too early, it brought the race to an official end at the conclusion of the 68th lap. There were thankfully no big losers out on the track in terms of places, although Daniel Ricciardo's fastest lap on lap 69 was expunged as a result of the error, handing the prize instead to Red Bull teammate Max Verstappen. If Hector Bellerin ever wants to spend a weekend incognito, he would be wise to book up another attendance at a Formula One Grand Prix. Already snubbed by Spain for this summer's World Cup, the Arsenal fullback was also ignored by broadcaster Sky before the race, with presenter Martin Brundle even asking him to move aside so he could speak to Winnie Harlow instead. If that wasn't enough, Ted Kravitz even failed to recognize who he was when he appeared on the screen after qualifying, saying, "Some hipsters around here with shaved hair and shorts and cool rose-colored glasses. He looks quite cool, that guy in the singlet, doesn't he? Right, sorry, I got distracted by the hipsters." It was 40 years ago when the famous Gilles Villeneuve claimed his first victory in Montreal while driving for Ferrari. Fast forward to 2018 and his son, Jacques, had the honor of driving the Ferrari 312 T3 to lead the drivers on the parade lap. Although Villeneuve was emotional following the lap, the 1997 world champion had joked beforehand of the occasion, saying, "It's great because it's the first time I will lead in a Formula One car in Montreal." Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton have never been the best of friends and were the bitterest of enemies fighting for the World Championship 11 years ago. But there is plenty of respect between the pair these days, with Hamilton seeking out the Spaniard to shake his hand ahead of Alonso's 300th Grand Prix. The pair even stood side by side to mark the occasion as the paddock celebrated the two-time world champion's milestone. Even if a basketball player had all the talent needed to become a successful racing driver, there is still one thing holding them back. They can't get in the car. Toronto Raptors star Serge Ibaka tried to get into Alonso's McLaren during the weekend only to find an F1 cockpit was never going to house a 6 feet 10 inches NBA star. Just to compound the problem, with knees still sticking out the car, Alonso then offered his steering wheel to his Spanish compatriot, which also needed to go in the cockpit.